Hi, Dr. Noble here, talking today about growing your culture of quality. In many respects, this will be one of the most challenging things that you will do as a quality manager, but at the same time will be one of the most fulfilling. Growing a culture of quality is a lot like being a gardener. It takes time and effort and imagination. And the garden will grow slowly. It may be very demanding and may be very sensitive to pressures. But as it flourishes, you will find that your opportunities for success in growing your organization's quality system will grow. And without a culture, your opportunities for success are very slim and are almost assuredly likely to fail. So what is a culture of quality? Well, culture of an organization has been defined as a set of common values or beliefs or actions that bind an organization together, that bind the members of the organization together and characterize the organization. There are a lot of forces that are at play within an organization. Let's talk about some of them. First of all, there's a basic underlying personality. An organization of construction workers is going to work one way, and an organization of physicists is going to work another. Basic personality has to do with the industry, the type of work, the gender mix, the age mix of an organization. And there's not a lot that a quality manager can control or influence. There is a second layer, and that's called climate. Sometimes an organization is under a lot of stress, and other days the stress may be gone and everybody may be very relaxed. Once again, stress and strain and relaxation are things that often are out of the control of the quality manager. The climate is something that you will have to recognize and work with, but it's not something that you can influence. But there's a third layer, and that is called the organizational structure. And this is something that you can work with. There are four types of pressures that are going on within an organization. There's a decision that the organization will either be very flexible or that it will require a lot of control and stability. It may be something where individuals have a lot of discretion, or that the type of work requires a lot of leadership control. The organization may be very internally focused, looking at its own processes, or may be very externally focused, looking at the market or patients. And finally, there may be an approach where everybody is required to work within a team in a very integrated way. Or there may be situations in which there's a lot of individual discretion which is at play. So within those four forces, authors such as Kim Cameron have defined four different characteristic structures of personality. One is called a clan structure, and this is one that is focused largely on the well-being of the staff. It is very strong on flexibility, and is very strong on internal focus. It is very weak in terms of control, leadership control, and weak on external focus. The second group is called hierarchy, and it's almost the opposite. It's very, very strong on an internal focus, but it's very, very strong on leadership. And is it is weaker in the areas of flexibility and weaker in the areas of external focus. Adhocracy, research and development oriented, is very strong on flexibility and very strong on external focus. And market is very strong on the external focus and very strong on stability. So within those four groups, all of which are very distinct. The reality is that most organizations have little bits of each. For example, a laboratory needs to have a very strong sense of leadership and a very strong sense of clan, that the staff can work together. There may be a less focus on research and development and less focus on patient care, but certainly for the functioning of the laboratory, very strong focus on leadership and very strong focus on the staff. So what are the things that will sustain a sense of quality of culture? There are a number of things that you need to do as a quality manager. You need to lead a process. You need people to understand that you are working together to develop this culture. You need a lot of participation, you need a lot of communication, and you need to provide the opportunity for education. And developing this will be a full-time effort. There's sometimes you'll be doing very little amount in one day, and other times you'll be doing a lot. But it's kind of like you tell your kids when they're doing their homework. You have to do something every day. Something every day to move the process of culture along. So there's some things that you can do, and let's talk about those. Let's talk about the process of communication and education. Things that can be done internally, very simple. Having group discussions at lunchtime, lunch and learns, will be a very strong way of working. Having internal meetings that are not necessarily all business focused, but have a little bit of time for relaxation and enjoyment. Those are things that build a community together. There are things that will increase your communication, like putting up posters and having poster contests. You can have vocabulary awareness things, a very strong form of education. Let me give you one suggestion for a really good way of providing education, vocabulary, opportunity to have fun, and a way of getting engaged. Having a newsletter, which provides a lot of sharing of information about the positives about how a culture of quality is growing, and combine that with doing, for example, a word search or a crossword puzzle or a similar words associated game where people have to think in terms of the vocabulary of quality in order to achieve. And do people do well with these? They do. And do they like a reward? Of course they do. But remember that studies have demonstrated that a cup of coffee or a small chocolate bar is as successful a reward as a large thing like a camera or a car. The important thing is that people need to feel that they are accomplishing and moving forward. And punishment is never a successful approach towards learning and education. So as we talk over the next couple weeks about culture of quality, think in terms of a little bit every day goes a long way. Think about common actions and beliefs that bind together. Remember communication and education, and through that process, you will increase your opportunities for having a successful culture of quality and a successful movement towards continual improvement. Many thanks. I look forward to chatting with you, and have a nice day.